Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Mostly reviews. We do mostly reviews, podcasts, things like that, but most of it's reviews. And there's a couple different beers that get us a little bit kind of a flutter, for the lack of a better term. Mystery beer is one of them. Little homebrew jam's always good. New brewery time is fun. Little smokies. Session smokies kind of get me all kinds of hot and bothered. Yeah, little Polish jam here in the form of, this is McCall Brewing Company, McCall Collective actually is what they go by. This is their Piwo Grodziskie. Yeah, I always want to say Grodziskie. That's how I'd like to say it, but it's Grodziskie. Yeah. And we've reviewed these before. We reviewed one of the original OG ones not too long ago. I had a bit of time on it. But these ladies and gentlemen down in the old Allentown area released this. This is part of a series. These kind of, I guess they call it the Speakeasy series. I assume it's going to be these kind of one-off, kind of more lower ABV, kind of old world kind of beers in these sweet Mickey Grenade style-esque kind of bottles. And this is an oak smoked Polish session ale. Brewed and bottled by McCall Collective Brewing Company, Allentown, PA. Keep cold, drink fresh, please recycle. That is a killer label. It is a killer bottle. Everything about that kind of gets me all kinds of a flutter. Yeah, we said it. So let's dive into this sucker, see what it's got. Full disclosure, I've had it. I went to the brewery to pick this up, and it was on draft, so I drank it. But, so the Grodziskie is exactly what they describe it to be, at least in the classic sense. It is basically a low ABV smoked beer. They're usually not crazy over the top, kind of Schlenker level smoke. Maybe if you think about their Helles, because that actually doesn't have any smoke in it. They say it's all imparted by the yeast because the brewery's so old. This is purposely used smoked malt, and yeah, just a super chugger, if you will. So let's see what this sucker has to offer. Put that right there. Like I said, digging on the shape of the bottle, digging on the whole thing. Oh, forgot to turn my fridge off. That sucks. Let me turn it off now. I don't. It's one of my new things I need to get is a new beer fridge that is not ridiculously loud. So because that is goddamn freaking loud. So I mean, as far as that beer goes, well, it's all the part of a small little kind of tight, taut kind of lager, light beer kind of color. There's a soft little haze to it that you come to expect from like a craft brewery without a super centrifuge, drop out all ability, kind of crazy expensive machinery. Beautiful carbonation on it. Getting very close to like snow globy, almost champagne like carbonation with this soft, almost, if we're going to go by, most common beers that a bulk of you probably have or drink in your life, very much kind of low ABV Saison. As far as looks, white as white can be had. Give it a whirl. Give it a huff. Yeah, it's a combination of a bright maltiness with this really, it's a really, it's an aggressive smoke for this beer. I don't think they have an ABV on this, but I want to say this is sub 5%. I'm pretty sure it is. I want to say closer to 4.3 maybe. But it has this very purposeful, meaningful smokiness to it. It's got a little bit of flabbiness to it, kind of like, the way smoke typically comes off to me on beers a couple different ways. Two main components, or two main variants of those, is the Schlenkerler, like super fatty kielbasi bologna kind of smoke, and then there's this little bit more kind of campfire, little burnt woody kind of smokiness. It's kind of hitting on both ends of that spectrum, but very, very aggressive for its ABV and its just in general kind of largeness, its bigness. Now, while the malt is there and purposeful, that smoke is keeping up, if not erring a little bit ahead, but nothing kind of gets a little too heavy-handed here. It's working in concert, back and forth. Nothing's too, like, overpowering each other. So you get that kind of nice malt base, very snappy, very, very kind of classic Pilsner-like, and that nice kind of smokiness that kind of flirts the edge of, like, a liquid smoke in combination with, like, a little bit of kind of that, like, fatty kind of smokiness I was talking about. So it smells pretty damn nice. Cheers, all. Yeah. I mean, spoiler alert, I probably should have posted on Instagram, as I posted a picture of this beer. And I said, I could drink 40 gabillion of these. Because it is really a perfect session beer. Especially if you like smoked beers. Because you get this nice kind of, like, again, Pilsner, maybe now a little bit bigger than just the base kind of plain Pilsner malt, something a little beefier than that. But really drinkable, really snappy, very lager-like. That smoke portion of the show is quite aggressive, like I said, for its ABV level, but it doesn't ever get heavy-handed. It stays in that zone to where it's something you can sit and talk about and enjoy, but at the same time, you can drink a few of these and not get like a palate fatigue kind of going on. There is a bit of an herbaceous kind of slightly herbal kind of hoppiness to it, like very gentle, just balancing off kind of hopping with like an old school, it's probably like classic, like a Zazie kind of thing going on, but there's a little bit more to it that makes me want to go English hop, but it's probably just this base kind of Zazie, something along those lines to bring that bitterness to the table. And the one thing I think that gets lost on some of these lower ABV, more sessionable kind of smoke beers is the cleanliness, the cleanness of this beer. It's kind of almost like counterproductive mentally to think about a smoked beer being clean. There's something about that that makes you want to be like, I don't think that can work. That's kind of an oxymoron, or shouldn't exist in the same universe, or something along those lines. But it really does work here. It has this really super chuggable drinkability to it. Again, session beers on the label, you want it to be like that. But when you kind of dump everything together, that smoke portion of the show, the malt portion of the show, a little bit of hoppiness, even the water chemistry here, I think that's playing a big part. How clean and crisp this beer kind of comes off. It really does come off as a really, really well done, really, really fantastically done. It's a little smoky jammer, If I'm going to sit here and talk to you about the 47,633 Piwo Grodziskie I've had in my life, I'd be lying. This is probably my 5th one I've ever had. I forget the name of the classic one I've had, but I have had a couple here and there. Even locally, I think Wallenpaupack Brewery did their version of one, and I've had a couple here and there. But they're really one of my favorite styles. You get a combination of lack of exposure, making me want it a little bit more. I don't know. What I can tell you is it's tasty. Tasty, very tasty, and honestly, just my kind of session beer. And really, if you're into smoky beers, if you're into Rausch beer, if you're into those kind of things, these are the beers that are really gonna float your boat, because you can get a little bit heavy-handed when it comes to these beers, especially when you get into that Schlenkerler line where you're starting to get a Doppelbock, things like that. There is a bit of heft to them. So while this fits the other end of that spectrum, bringing this really, really drinkable, chuggable, sessionable beer, it's still from a local small little brewery. Not too far away from me, which is pretty damn cool. We've covered a bunch of McCall stuff. They sent us beer in the past. And it's just something I was just chomping at the bit to try when I saw they were releasing this. I'm like, I gotta go down. And I made the trip, and I'm glad I did, because this is damn tasty stuff. And one of the better ones I've ever had. Mount Rushmore status. Let's just throw it on there, because that's what we do. So there you go. McCall in the books. Let's talk about the beer. How many of these Grodziskies have you had in your life? Is there ones that you particularly enjoy? Are there specific ones that you're really a big fan of? McCall in general, have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? Have you had this particular beer from the brewery? Yeah, only been out a couple days. You never know. I've got a big following down in Lehigh Valley, so we'll see what's what. So there you go. Review in the book. So hopefully you guys enjoyed our review. Hopefully you're enjoying little smoky jams right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.